Hi there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. Welcome to episode 116 of Ask Boss Bounty. This is the weekly series where you ask me questions in the comment section below, and every week I do my very best to answer them for you. As always, if you do have a question for next week's episode, please leave it in the comment section below and hopefully you'll be featured next week. And in fact, there's an even bigger incentive to ask a question in the comment section below today, because I will be doing the giveaway for 20,000 subscribers. That's right, I managed to hit 20,000 subscribers. I think it was on Thursday that I managed to do that, which is absolutely awesome. So thank you so much for everybody that currently subscribes. If you want to be in with the giveaway, which I'm going to announce later on in the video, then one of those things that you need to be doing is be subscribed to the channel. I'll run through the details of the giveaway a little bit later on in the video. But if you do ever enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like down below. And let's get straight on to the first question. Sean T says, great content as always, boss. Question for next week. How rare is the Droids Boba Fett figure? It seems the secondary market has this figure at a very high price at the moment, and it'd be great to hear your thoughts. So I would not panic on the Droids Fett and go out and pay silly prices on eBay for that figure. I do believe that that will hit stores in the US. I think the C-3PO has already hit. So at the end of the day, the other ones are going to be coming as well. Don't worry. In the UK, we've been very lucky and we managed to get all of those. And I think most people managed to get a few Fetts each. And in the UK now, secondary market prices for that Fett are not that high at all. I think you can pick one up for like, you know, 20 to 25 pounds, which is a bit more than retail, but it's not the silly prices that I've seen them going for in the US. So I would say be patient. I think once they start hitting, there'll be plenty of those to go around. Hyperspace K says, hope all is well. Question for next week. With the new media appearances producing more and more amazing figures, Bo-Katan, Mythrol and IG-11 come to mind, will this motivate Hasbro to update older figures with the new technologies that they have developed? An example would be an inevitable Black Chrysanthemum figure giving us a brand new 3.75 Wookiee mould. It would be a shame to not revisit Chewbacca or Tarful. Likewise with older dated figures that can be easily updated. Thoughts? It's possible depending on the figure, but I don't think the creation of a Black Chrysanthemum, for example, would necessarily make Hasbro go out and make a brand new Chewbacca mould. I don't think it really works like that. I think we definitely need a new mould for Black Chrysanthemum. I don't think they need to go back to any of the previous Wookiees and look for those parts. I think we need an all new figure for him, certainly. But yeah, I don't think really the creation of that figure would then say, okay, we've done that Wookiee, now we need to do a load of other Wookiees. I'm not too sure if it works like that, but 100% we need the Black Chrysanthemum. Jackson Smith says, hey boss, great video as always. I was just wondering what the difference is between a Patreon supporter and a channel member and if they get the same perks or no. Thanks. So essentially they are one in the same thing. I started off with a Patreon, which I had a few members on there, which was awesome. And then YouTube enabled me to do memberships, so I enabled those. And the only difference really is that with the memberships, you get a little thing on the end of your name. So when I'm in live streams and things like that, and you comment in a live stream, you can see the little icon on the end of your name. Essentially, the perks I offer for the two things are exactly the same. You get access to the Discord and things like that. Giveaways, all that kind of stuff. Some people prefer Patreon and some people prefer the YouTube membership, so it's entirely up to you. Calum Cartel says, question for next week. Out of any figure in the vintage collection, what one would you want to be re-released, updated with an all-new articulation? Keep up the great work. So I'm going to be quite obvious with this one, and it would have to be VC45 Clone Trooper. Only because once they do this figure, very much like with the Stormtrooper, then they can go on and make lots of other figures from this new mould. And I've gone on record before saying that I believe this figure is just too skinny. It's more of an animated clone, in my opinion. It doesn't look too bad with the Phase 1 helmet, but it does look pretty bad with the Phase 2 helmet. And unfortunately, that new 501st Trooper that they're doing, once again, is using that. And you'll see on that figure, the helmet definitely looks oversized. And the helmets are oversized, but it makes it worse that the figure is so skinny. That's what makes it worse, in my opinion. So that is what I would do. And unfortunately, the only downside with that, of course, is that a lot of people have already army built this figure, and there's a lot of figures that already use this. So then they'd, you know, be crying out for an update to the 501st, to the Shock Trooper, and all the other figures that have happened to use that mold. So that would be the only problem with it. But me personally, I've never really liked that one, and yeah, that's the one. If I was talking about a figure that's never been in the vintage collection before, but that has been made before, it would be Garandan. I would absolutely love this figure updated. I don't even think they need to do too much to this guy. Certainly maybe from the waist up, he would probably need the proper elbows because he only has the swivel elbows, but the face looks great, or the head looks great, and I absolutely love this figure. And of course it'd give us a chance to get the card back for him. Would be awesome. It would, really would. So Garandan would be awesome. Walter Abraham says, hey Tim, question for next week. I see some of those vintage collection Clone Wars inspired figures like the blue and red troopers Barriss Luminara on the secondary market, but not in stores. Did I miss the release or something? All the best, my friend. I don't think you did. I'm not even sure if these have shown up in stores in the US yet. I only got this wave, I think it was last week, late last week. And the reason for that is because the battle droid was holding up the wave. Now in the UK, we get our figures in solid cases. This is how the retail stores get them. So if you look at this, you can see it's got 6 figures, and this one is the Genndy Luminara. So you would have got 6 Luminaras in this. Now, the reason we never got these delivered is because the battle droid was holding that up. So people that had ordered the whole wave couldn't get theirs delivered because they were missing the battle droid. They couldn't fulfill the wave. Whereas I managed to get the 2 ARC Troopers a few weeks ago because obviously some retailers managed to get solid cases of those, and people that ordered them separately were shipped those figures separately. But I'm thinking that's what is maybe happening in the States, is that the battle droid for some reason is holding this wave up. But as I say, I don't think they've actually been in stores yet. I don't think I've actually seen anybody on Instagram or anything like that actually finding these in stores. So I wouldn't worry. And again, it's like the Boba Fett, the droids Boba Fett, you know, don't panic, don't pay secondary market prices. I'm pretty sure they'll show up. Adam Guggenheim says, what are your big takeaways from the Hasbro panels? Mando N1 is on the way. I'm going to be really quick with this because I want to get through as many questions as I possibly can. Plus I've got the giveaway details to do in a bit. So the biggest takeaways for me was Emily is just fantastic. She really loves the vintage collection, you can tell. She's the senior designer on the vintage collection. It was great to have her on the panel and get her opinions on things. Another big takeaway is that we won't be seeing any more of these sized card backs. Again, I think this was the only one that they did, and they tried it and they had feedback that people didn't like this size card because you couldn't put it in a case or it didn't fit with the other type of cards. That's why they moved on to those new deluxe boxes, so that was a bit of a takeaway. Another takeaway was the Bib Fortuna that's going to be included in the Throne Room playset will be carded, but they don't know what sort of card yet, and they're still trying to figure it out. But Emily thinks that it will be a standard size card, which is awesome. And the other takeaway that I got from that is that they didn't really want to answer the question properly about the cost of that Boba Fett. I think it eventually came down to the fact that it's got, you know, lots and lots of paint apps on it. But then if you look at the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, that was a brand new figure with loads and loads of paint apps. I think it was like a record number of paint apps for a vintage collection figure, and that was in the standard line at what, $13.99 or something. So yeah, I don't think that's really a big takeaway, but unfortunately that question wasn't really answered properly. Kerry Mahoney says, here's a bit of a random question. With so many shows coming out, are there any particular actors you'd love to see in a Star Wars universe? I can't really think of any offhand. Zoe Deschanel, maybe, get her in there. She's always been a bit of a favourite of mine, so I think she'd make a good female lead, maybe. Joseph O'Hara says, question for next week. I really hope we get a TVC Cobb Vanth figure soon. Do you think it's more realistic that his non-armoured look from the Book of Boba Fett will be released first, or do you think we will get a deluxe armoured Vanth from The Mandalorian Season 2? Well, I'll tell you what I hope happens. I hope that we get the armoured one because then it's a more sort of complete figure. It wouldn't surprise me if they did the one from the Book of Boba Fett, but the dream would be a deluxe version where the armour actually removes and then you get both figures. That would be awesome, but I'm not too sure if they'll be able to accomplish that with the armour being removable or anything like that. That, you know, you'd probably have to have removable lower arms for the gauntlets, and it seems unlikely. But I think if I was to hazard a guess, it would probably be the Mandalorian one with all the armour. Tony Stark says, Tim, congrats on reaching 20k, a wonderful achievement and a sign, as any, that the vintage collection just keeps on rising. Question for next week, do you start to get itchy if 3 or 4 days go by without a brown box or parcel arriving at your door? Yes, Tony, I can definitely say that I do get twitchy when that starts happening. My wife, however, probably likes the fact that the brown boxes don't keep turning up. All right, with the mention of 20k, that probably gives us a good opportunity to talk about the giveaway. So all you need to do to enter this giveaway is leave a question in the comment section below. Now, of course, we can't guarantee that the question will be used next week, but it's a good way of me being able to run the competition, because then I can use a random comment generator to be able to pick the winners. Now, I'm going to do 2 giveaways. Now the first giveaway is for this, and I'm going to bung in these as well. So one person will win these. This is the Mandalorian and Grogu Maldo Crease and the Carbonized Moff Gideon and Shore Trooper. So that'll be one set to do, and the others will be a mixture of Black Series and Vintage Collection. So we'll do the Emperor and IG-11, and then we will do Credit Collection, Grief Karga and the Armourer. Now the two cards for the Credit Collections aren't great. They'll probably be more for someone that wants to open the figures, or you can do whatever you like with them. The Emperor, slight little mark on there, but IG-11 looks good. So, but you know, you may not have these figures anyway and you might want to open them, but that'll be the second prize. So as I said, all you've got to do to enter the giveaway is leave a question in the comment section below. You need to be subscribed, and the other thing you need to do is like this video. So hopefully we'll get a lot more likes on this video than we will do questions, but they should marry up. And then next week I will announce the winners for those two sets of items. You can live anywhere in the world. I will be paying for the shipping. Purple Yoda says, congrats on another great episode. Sundays just wouldn't be the same. Thank you so much. Question, read the Book of Boba Fett. What are your overall thoughts and what are your top 3 wants as figures from the series? Okay, let me just say the figures first of all. I would like Black Chrysanthemum, Cad Bane and the Tusken Warrior, the one that trains him. They're the 3 that I would really like. It was a toss-up between her and Cobb Vanth, but I'd have to go with her. In terms of the Book of Boba Fett overall, I thought it was overall enjoyable. There were some aspects of it that I really didn't like. Some of it I found a little bit boring, I've got to say. I'd probably say out of the 7 episodes, 4 of them were really good, 3 of them not so much. And throughout the whole thing, it was a little bit all over the place. And I think 2 of the best episodes were really the ones where the Mandalorian were in it. And I kind of think that's the way it should be, really. Like, the Mandalorian's new, Boba Fett's, you know, been done. I preferred it when Boba Fett was a cameo within the Mandalorian. I didn't really need a whole series about Boba Fett. I think the sort of mystique of him is better left untouched, but that's just my opinion. I prefer the Mandalorian on the whole. I loved that series, and the Book of Boba Fett just didn't really sort of stand up against that, really. New channel member TVC Macken says, hi Bossk, love the channel and your Ask Boss videos have become a tradition on Sundays. Keep up the great work. Question for next week. With the release this week of the Throne Room playset, does this make it less likely that we will see a TVC Has Lab this year? And will this be a replacement for HasLabs going forward? So I don't know 100%, but I don't think HasLabs are a thing that are going to disappear necessarily. I do think that this is a good thing that this one isn't a HasLab, because obviously when you pre-order it, they don't take your money and keep your money for a year. You know, you can back out any time. There's no funds taken out until it ships next year. I think it is my understanding that this, you know, was at the very beginning potentially talked about being a HasLab internally. I think they probably came up with a few ideas of how they were going to, you know, sell this thing. And eventually they came up with a Pulse exclusive. And I think maybe that's probably the right thing, because I think the set falls a little bit too short of what a HasLab should be. It's a great playset, don't get me wrong, and I've ordered one. But I don't think it's really like a HasLab dream item necessarily. But, you know, maybe it was going to be a HasLab originally. I know they had some assets drawn up for Zing Pop Culture in Australia, and they didn't remove those. So, but I think it was discussed that it was going to be a HasLab, but I think there was other ways and means that it could be sold discussed as well, and they went for the Hasbro Pulse route. Matthew Prize, or Priez, has quite a long question here, but basically I'll summarise it. He's talking about the plastics for the vintage collection, and do I think, you know, they're going to take them away? And it was asked a few times on the Hasbro Q&As, and they didn't have anything to announce at this moment. I think from a global level, Hasbro want to remove all plastic from their packaging. I think the vintage collection is going to get a pass on that. I really do, because you're going to be cutting off maybe 50, maybe 60, maybe 70% of your customers and your sales if you take away the plastic bubble and the card back. I really do think that's the case. I think the carded collectors outweigh the people that open these things. There are a lot of people that enjoy the figures, don't get me wrong, myself, but I also buy one carded as well. So 50% of my sales are going to be going straight away. So I don't think they'll do it, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll be the wrong move if they do it. But yeah, as I say, only time will tell. It's only going to be the end of this year that it's coming in, if something does come in. So fingers crossed. Chad Mully says, hey, you mentioned you are going to start working on a new collection room. How do you display your acrylic graded figures? And do you have glass IKEA cases, or do you put them on shelves? I find 3.75 inch figures are harder to display versus an 11 inch. I do have IKEA cases and things like that. I don't really have many loose graded figures. I have some sort of graded mint on cards and things like that. I think the best way to look how I do it is check out my room tour video, which I do need to update, by the way, because it was done in 2020, but I'll leave a link in the description below and a card just up there if you want to click on that to have a little watch after this video. Then you'll be able to see the kind of things where I've got my loose figures and a few graded things and acrylic cases and things like that. Jedi Master 420 says, great vid, question for next week. With last year's productions and re-releases of Return of the Jedi figures everywhere, what on earth can we possibly expect next year for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi? Seems like they painted themselves into a corner. Even the Emperor is about to be re-released in 6-inch on the archive line. Will we get re-releases of re-releases? I don't think that's fair. I think there's loads that they can do from Return of the Jedi that hasn't already been done. If you look at the speeder bike, the A-Wing, we could have a proper Death Star playset with the throne room. We could, they could do that. They could do a Endor bunker playset. They could re-release the Scout Walker for people that haven't got it. They could do a 4-pack of Ewoks, a 4-pack of Scout Troopers. There's loads and loads and loads to do from Return of the Jedi. There's still some aliens from Jabba's palace. Squidhead, we need him. A Man. There's loads and loads and loads from Return of the Jedi that they can do. We only really got a small amount this year, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope they give it a lot more emphasis than they did The Empire Strikes Back, that's for sure. Okay then guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comment section below if you want to be entered in the giveaway, and if you don't want to be entered in the giveaway, leave your questions in the comment section below for next week's episode as well, and then we can carry on this series. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Links for those are in the description below as well. Thank you all for watching, my friends, and we'll see you on the next one.